Happy Showcase Sunday, everybody. Today we have the amazing Lisa Jackson. Now, Lisa Jackson is from Acorn Marketing, and she's going to tell us all about marketing, top tips, etc. So Showcase Sunday, just to remind you, is bringing experts from the field to help our hospitality businesses to succeed and help and support you through all the times that you're going through right now. So over to Lisa. Lisa, would you like to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
Yeah, hi, good morning, Alison. Thank you for having me. As you know, I am Lisa Jackson, and I run Acorn Marketing. So I am a marketing consultant. I'm a chartered marketer as well, and I've been running Acorn Marketing for 10 years this year, celebrating my 10-year anniversary in what year are we? Gosh, well, you know where the years just go. 2021. But I've got over 20 years experience in marketing as well, working all over the country for different types of organisations. And I work with loads of different clients since I've set up my business, from pudding companies to nuclear systems engineers to building societies and gardeners, like all sorts of different people. And I'm really, really passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about marketing. Do you know, I think I've wanted to do this since I was a little girl. I used to like make posters at school and design things. So it's sort of in my blood. And I just love meeting all different types of business people, helping them. And even if it's just like one little thing that I can help them with and takes their business forward, then it makes it worthwhile. So I'd love what I do. It's not really like a job.
I love that. I absolutely love it. And it's rare you find that these days, but it's so magical when you do, because it is, you can see the passion oozing from you with what you do and why you do it, and it's incredible. And there's a lot of marketeers out there, Lisa, as you know. But what makes you unique and different? What is your USP? What is your shining light above anybody else?
You know, I think there's a couple of things, like you just said about the passion there, Alison. A lot of people say to me, if I've ever tried to work with other people, they're like, no, we just want to work with you. Like, it's you, like I am the business, if you know what I mean. People just like working with me. So, and I would talk to, you know, like a waitress in a cafe the same as I would to a CEO of a big multinational. And I'm just quite down to earth. So I think that's like one thing that sets me apart. The other thing which I think is really important is, because I've worked in marketing so long, when I started my career, I used to fax press releases out to journalists and used to actually pick up the phone and speak to people. And I remember once I worked in a PR agency, a fashion PR company in London, and somebody once said to me, oh, just Google it. And I was like, do what? And it was just like, we used to send out press packs, but we used to like sit on the floor of the office and like pull the press packs together. So it was before the days of social media and digital marketing. And it was sort of, as I was coming to my career, just sort of emerging. So I've got this breadth of experience of traditional marketing techniques before all this digital social media stuff came about. But then as that's come along, my career sort of developed as well. So I feel like I've grown up with digital marketing. And I find a lot of marketing agencies or people that are coming into marketing now will only like the very sort of blinkered that digital marketing and social media, and they forget about all this other stuff that is still so important. But then quite a lot of like old school marketers struggle sometimes with the digital media side of things and then come to me for advice. So I feel like I've just got this like overarching breadth of knowledge of how to do it all, really. So I think that makes me quite unique as well. And often as well, a lot of feedback that I get is that people don't want to work with big agencies, and they meet somebody and then the work will be handed down to someone else, or they don't get back to them. Whereas my clients, they just get me I work with other people, but they get me, and I input directly into their business. So I think that's probably what makes me a little bit different to other people out there.
Yeah, you're so right. You just took me back to when I used to do fam trip press
Yeah,
packs.
fan
My
tips.
goodness, I've forgotten about that.
Yeah,
We used to literally, as a hotel, put everything in the press pack so that when they came, they all had it in the rooms as a welcome, and it was massive.
yeah.
And I remember finally putting it on a CD or a DVD. Well, yeah, it was a
A little
CD, I think.
USB
Yeah,
stick.
little, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
then the USB stick after that.
yeah.
Gosh, that you just take me back. Gosh, but you're right. Is I've known so many businesses, and in my past as a hotel general manager, we tended to get handed down to somebody else who probably didn't get the business as the initial conversation had. So
Mm.
it is important you get the person who is actually going to do the work with you, and understands the business, but from the get go, really, it's
Yeah,
really important. Yeah, yeah.
it really is. Yeah,
So the industry right now is having a bit of another turmoil, to say the least.
yeah,
You,
just a bit.
you couldn't write it. You really couldn't write it. I think I've said that for the past 18 months. You couldn't write it. You couldn't.
It's crazy.
And I've had a few, obviously, with the energy crisis and all sorts of other cost implications with products, supplies, etc. They're saying marketing. Well, Alison, we've been full all year. We've done really, really well. Surely we can not spend on marketing. And I shout, what? That's the last thing to go. And so what do you do that helps the industry, but also helps that's relevant right now?
Do you know, it's funny that you say that, because a lot, like I would say every industry, when there's something happens, marketing is the first thing that goes. People are like, oh, we can just get rid of that expense. But actually often it's the thing that you need to invest in most to keep, making sure that you're busy, and that that you're still out there being seen by people. And I encourage people, like during the pandemic, when like the businesses were closed or they weren't working, to really keep thinking about what they can do that's a little bit different. And those businesses that emerged really strong out of the pandemic are those ones that invested time in their marketing. So there's different ways that I work with people to help them through the pandemic. And actually my business changed quite a bit, as you know, Alison, sort of when the pandemic hit. And it's the same for everybody. When we all went into lockdown, it's like, oh, brace yourself, what's going to happen? And I did lose a few clients, but I have clients in all sorts of different industries, so I was able to keep going. But one of the things that I wanted to do to help people was like, I saw other people doing things, and I was like, well, I can't do that. I'm at home, I'm homeschooling. Like, what can I do to help businesses? So I took to social media and just started going live on my Facebook page and giving people advice and helping people. And I would pick a different subject and talk about it. And then that has sort of come about into me almost doing like coaching online about marketing and social media. And I have a Facebook group called Marketing Made Easy with Lisa, which you know about. You're one of my lovely members. But people come into that group and I go live each week. I give tips, I give advice. I put so much information in there that can really help people. But I also do little mini marketing masterclasses as well. So quite often I've had, a few like bed and breakfast owners or hotels and people that work in the industry that have joined those, that wanted to improve their social media or their knowledge about PR or something, that have joined those mini marketing masterclasses and have really found that beneficial. And I've also started doing like one-to-one coaching as well. So for those people who think, we know we need to do something with marketing, but we don't have loads of money to spend on marketing, they can come and like have a session with me each month, and we'll talk through what they're doing, and I'll give them advice, like personalized, tailored one-to-one advice as well. So we do that. But the majority of my bigger clients are like retainer clients, so they'll work with me on a long-term basis. So I've just been working with a holiday park in Ullswater that have just been announced as like the best holiday park in the UK, which has been amazing. And, you know, doing some like really tailored strategic things for them. They wanted to sell some new lodges. So we've been looking at social media and email marketing, sales funnels, to then increase brand awareness, to then go on and get more inquiries to sell those lodges. So there's all sorts of things. Everything I do is so bespoke to each different client. So whether somebody just wants a bit of knowledge and a bit of advice, jump into the Facebook group, follow me on social media. If somebody wants something a little bit more structured and tailored and just needs somebody to bounce ideas off, the one-to-one coaching works really well. Or if somebody's like, I just cannot do marketing, I have no time, I need someone else to do it, then the month-to-month sort of retainer program of work that I do can help them as well. So I've worked with a few different hospitality businesses over the years that have done those kind of things with me.
That's brilliant. Yeah, and I know that because you've got all the traditional elements as well as the digital era of marketing, you could help and support any apprentices that go in hospitality. And there's been a lot taken on for the Kickstart scheme. They need that extra training, and the hospitality venues haven't got that time right now to be able to train and develop somebody, although that's part of the Kickstart agreement. But it would be quite handy if they bring, you know, I actually first of all join your group, because you've got shed loads of top tips on there, but also maybe have a few one-to-one sessions with you where they can get some training and actually understanding and what's best to market out there for them as a business.
Definitely, yeah. And I've had quite a few businesses that have come to me and like we've got this quite junior marketing team, or somebody that's maybe only got like a couple of years experience and just need that guidance, almost like a mentor. And I have been a mentor for a few different people that just need advice and guidance. And can you read this strategy? Is this right? Or I don't know who to approach for this. Can you help me with this? And I love doing things like that as well. I love giving back and helping people, because I always think we're all in it together. Even though we were talking before about USPs with other competitors, I actually work with a lot of my competitors on projects or sharing best practice and advice and information. And I'd love to like hand it down to other people as well that can then go out and make sure that marketing's done in the right way, not just messing around and trying to hope that it works, actually learning from somebody that's got experience. So yeah, if anybody approached me that was an apprentice or needed that support, and actually that's one of the ways that I started. When I used to work in the marketing team at the Beatles Story, and we had an external marketing consultant that used to come in, and she would sort of guide me and help me, but I would do all the work. And it was amazing. And we're working on a project together at the moment. And it's really nice to be able to help other people in that way as well.
Oh, it's massive. Collaboration is key. It is so important. It really is. And you get such benefit when you've got collaboration and it's working, you know, to the best for the client. I love that. Yeah. That's brilliant. So obviously all my lovely guests on my Showcase Sunday, I always ask what their 5 tips are. Top tips. How are you ready for sharing your 5 top tips?
I'm ready. I wrote some notes down so I wouldn't forget them. Okay, so my top tips. I would say this is for anybody that works in marketing, but definitely hospitality. I think these things are really key, and with everything that's happened recently. So top tip number 1 is about strategy. So quite often a lot of people just jump in and start doing marketing. I think let's just do social media, let's have a Twitter profile, and don't actually really think about what it is they're doing. And I find this so often with marketing, that people don't actually just really know what they're doing, and everything becomes very reactive. Oh, we've just had this email for some advertising. Should we do it? Do we do it? Oh, it sounds quite good. It's quite a good price. Should we just do it? Yeah, let's do it. And that they've not actually thought it through why they're doing that, or if they should do it. So strategy is really important. And what people need to be thinking about, some key areas, like key headers in their strategy, would be to think about right at the beginning, like, what are your aims with marketing? What do you actually want to achieve? Do you want to increase followers on social media? Do you want to get more bookings? Do you want to get more inquiries? What are the, like, say 3 or 4 things that you want to achieve in that maybe the 12 months that you're working on? So like, now is a really good time for planning to work on the next 12 months. You might have different aims for the next 5 to 10 years, but think about the next 12 months. What are those key aims? What do you want to achieve? Business aims might be different, but what do you want to achieve with your marketing? And the next thing to think about is target customer, target audience. Like, really think about who the target customer is, because so many people just say, well, everybody. Actually, it's not everybody, is it? Like, the way that you would speak to you and I, Alison, is probably very different to how you would speak to a male that's 25 or a male that's 60, or, you know, very, very different audiences of people. So really be defined about who your target customer is. And there might be, like, say 2 or 3 different categories, but your marketing should be different and tailored to each of those categories. What else to look at in strategy? Look at your competitors, see what they're doing, anything that you can take from them and do it better. And also think about key messages as well. That's really important when it comes to marketing. So what are your, like, potential customers, like, pain points? What do they want to know? What do you really need to shout about in your business that's different from everybody else? So think about key messages too. So there's some really important things just to think about before you go forward with your marketing for the next year. So that was tip number 1. Tip number 2 is planning. So this ties in really closely with strategy. But again, you might have written your strategy and think, great, we know what we're doing, that's fine. And then you file it away and then you don't do anything with it again. So you need to look at your strategy and break it down. So all the things you want to achieve in your strategy and all the things that you're going to do to achieve those aims, like, when are you going to do them? So really look at a 12-month plan and write down what you're going to do each month. So if you've decided you want to write an e-newsletter, put that in your plan for each month and then think, well, it takes me this much time to write it and that's how much time I need. Pop it in your plan. When are you going to plan your social media? Stick that in there as well. Have you got any events coming up? Put those in. Key times of year for hospitality, hotels, you know, if there's any trade fairs, travel trade, showcases that you want to go to or anything like that, put those in there. Obviously, it gets busier coming up sort of springtime, around Easter. You want to be thinking 6 weeks in advance of that, of what marketing that you need to be doing to get those bookings for Easter. Or even like now, you need to be thinking about that. So put all those key things in that you're going to do to ensure that you don't get to like 2 weeks before Easter and go, oh, should we do a competition? And then, like, it's really reactive again. So be really planned and methodical with it, and always think, you know, like that, the opportunities that pop up. Oh, should we do that advert? Well, will it achieve any of my aims in my strategy? Is it in my plan? No. Okay, I'm not going to do it then. You don't need to do everything. So planning is key. Top tip number 3 is about, I've put, don't forget traditional marketing. So quite a lot of people are so, like, honed in on social media, but there's so much more to marketing than that. And traditional types of marketing. So I'm talking about public relations, networking, making partnerships with people, collaboration, like you talked about. There's so many things that you can do that aren't online, like word of mouth even, or reviews. All those kind of things are really, really important to think about outside of social media. And yeah, social media, website, digital marketing is very, very important. But there's so much other stuff to do as well. Sponsorship of your local football team, and then getting a story in the newspaper. That can be, super important too. But a lot of people forget about traditional marketing. So don't forget about it. Number 4, even though I've just been saying how wonderful traditional marketing is, don't forget social media. Social media is really, really important for marketing. And there's a lot of people that don't like social media, or don't think it'll work for their business, just not quite sure, or they're not hitting the mark with it. It's not working quite right. But there is so much to explore and discover with social media. And actually, I think my business has sort of gone from here to here because of social media and changes that I've made over the years to make sure it works. So if you're not on social media, you're missing out. Or you might be on social media but not using it in the most effective way. So I would really say pay attention to what you're doing on social media. Think about what is and what isn't working, and how you can take that forward to make sure that it does work for your business. Because a lot of people as well like churn stuff out and it doesn't actually really work, and then they think, well, why is everyone else's social media really good and mine doesn't really do anything? And no, well, I'm on there but it doesn't really do any business. But there's something wrong then. So you need to really look at how you do your social media. And top tip number 5 was to develop your email marketing. Now, a lot of people go, ooh, email, it's a bit like Marmite. And we all know that we all get blasted all the time with so many emails, but it's so powerful. And earlier this year, we saw a big outage on Facebook and Instagram, and I saw a lot of people freaking out because they maybe don't have a website. Everything is on social media. So the other thing with that is, which I've told you before as well, Alison, is that you don't own that.
No.
You don't own your audience on social media, or Meta, as it's now called, Facebook and Instagram, that group, they own that data. You don't. As soon as you put your pictures on it, they own that. You don't anymore. But your email list, if you build up your email list, you own that data and you can communicate with them whenever you want. So if there was an outage on social media, and I actually saw this from a local company, Ruby and Bean. I don't know if, do you know them?
Yeah,
They make like hoodies and beanies and stuff. I got an email as soon as Facebook went down. They sent an email like, don't worry, we're still here, you can still shop on our website, and put loads of links. I was like, that's brilliant, that's great. You don't need to, so you don't have to have everything on social media, but it's really important to make sure that you can, if social media disappeared tomorrow, remember MySpace? We all loved MySpace, and then one night it just disappeared.
Yeah.
We don't know, that could maybe happen with Facebook one day, and wouldn't it be awful if you were left with no audience? So if you've got that email list, then you can nurture them as well. So I think that is particularly important for the hospitality industry, of making sure you manage that list. And it's not just a case of taking email addresses, loads of email addresses, and then never communicating with people. You've got to put that in your marketing strategy and your plan and communicate with people as well. So that's quite an important thing, I think, for the hospitality industry.
Massive. And don't spam them as well. That's where a lot of people do unsubscribe. It's got to be relevant to your target audience. It's interesting because a lot of people don't realize the money is in the list. That's your top of the sales funnel. And it is interesting how they just go, oh, I don't know what to do with all this data. The amount of people I speak to, and I ask, what email list have you got, or what data have you got? And you guess them were, well, we've not really had time to collect it or put it into any. And I'm like, whoa, the money's in the list.
It is. And
hot leads.
Yeah, people that are inquiring or engaging with you in any way. If somebody rings up, they want to make a booking, all those types of people, you need to be engaged with them and keeping them, like they're warm people. They've expressed an interest in what you're doing, so you need to keep communicating with them. And like you said, not in a spammy way. And it doesn't always matter if people unsubscribe, because if they unsubscribe, they were never going to buy from you in the first place. So bye, move on, and carry on communicating with the people on your email list. And again, I found that has really, really worked for my business too. So it is definitely something to think about, how you can get people's email addresses, but keep communicating with them.
And the beauty is as well, which I said to a lot of clients, they might not come to you straight away. They might be a slow burner. That's okay. Let them slow burn until they're ready for you. They're ready to pick up the phone or decide to book or use the call to action. But they might take a year. You know, I've had somebody take a couple of years, and I think, flipping heck, I'd almost forgotten about you. I'd almost written you off. But it's so true.
I had one of my biggest clients, they said to me when they first got in touch, they're like, yeah, we've been watching you for like 4 years. We've been watching what you're doing, but now's the right time. And I was like, crikey. You know, so a lot of people do that, and that's why marketing is so important. And those people that think, oh, well, marketing, we need to stop. Like, I had a client recently, they're like, we're really, really busy in that area, we don't need to push it. I'm like, yeah, you might be now, but you might not be in a few months. And like, at the moment, I'm so busy and not taking on new clients at the moment because I'm so busy. But I'm still doing exactly the same. I'm keeping that level of marketing up, because if I don't, then, well, I'm not going to be this busy forever. But I want people to know what I do, and I'm still out there talking to people and teaching people things, because they might, in a year's time, they might be ready as well. So it's exactly the same with all industries. That's why people need to keep on with their marketing, because it might get to that point where, oh, actually we're a bit quiet now, or those bookings are not coming in, or the sales are not coming in, and that's when people are reactive and think, oh, we need to do something, and then spend loads on advertising. Or
or it could be too late. It's interesting, because I've seen that with a few companies recently, you know, and because they've had a great busy year, they think they're okay, and they're not okay, because, you know, they've let marketing go. They're not as visual, they're not as you know, they're not as out there, and I forget it. So when I'm being asked to recommend, you know, certain places in certain areas, if I've not seen them on any media channel for a while, I might know them really well, but if I've not been reminded, I forget. I completely forget. So they don't even come in the forefront of my mind. Wouldn't even go and look. You know, and that's really important. You know, it's quite fascinating how many people forget that they need to stay out there. So even like you say, even if you're full or you're busy, there may come a day where somebody, you know, decides to not continue with that contract, and you need another person to come in or whatever. So it is important, and I just find it really fascinating. And
it's funny. I think the majority of people, marketing budgets go first, or we're busy with buying, and then everything gets cut. But it is really important that marketing continues all the time. And the amount of people that come to me, majority of people either find me through Google, maybe social media, or word of mouth. But generally the word of mouth is that people have seen me on social media and then told somebody else. And like you're saying, if I wasn't visible on social media, I was just like working away, then those people wouldn't necessarily hear about me, or that word of mouth wouldn't happen. So it's and it is the most important form of marketing, is word of mouth. So you just you need to keep being that little hamster,
keep being out there
doing stuff.
Keep being visual and getting yourself out there. It's really important. So obviously you save so much time, money. I mean, if somebody was to go and actually learn how to do your top tips in marketing, it would take them a year, wouldn't it, really? But you help them fast track. So have you got any examples where you've done that? I've probably just given one of them.
Well, definitely, I think the way I help people, well, I've said help people in different ways. So there's through the courses and social media courses and being in the group and doing the mini marketing masterclasses. And I also do the marketing mastery program, which is like an 8-week course of showing people like how to write the strategy, how to do the planning, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of time people spend trying to figure it out by themselves. And it takes a long time, you know yourself, if you're like, oh God, how do we do that YouTube thing? And it takes ages to figure stuff out. But I can really help people save time with saying, oh, you just need to do this, or just do it in this way. And particularly with social media, I found a lot of people as well would be like, I need to post something on social media. What can I post? And then just post something and it's maybe not that effective. But the ways that I teach people to do their social media, the amount of people that have come back to me and said, oh, it's revolutionized how I do social media now. I save so much time. I don't have to worry about it. And it actually works. That one lady, I think she doubled her followers like within like 6 weeks or something after coming. I'd done a talk somewhere about how to use Instagram. And she's like, it was amazing. I couldn't believe like just a couple of little things that I did have doubled my followers and saved me so much time. It's amazing. And then like that makes me feel really good as well. I'm like, it's so easy. And it's like, it's not like a secret. It's not like a secret I want to keep and then charge loads of people loads of money.
Yeah.
Or like keep it away from competitors. I'm like, no, everyone should be doing this because it makes it so much easier for people. So in that sense, doing the courses and just like, you know, like how to use Canva, my little course that I do. Again, people have said, oh, I looked at it at first and I didn't know how to use it. And then I watched your video and like, oh, now I'm a whiz. And I see people's social media and I can tell when they've been listening to what I've said. And then the other one, like the other side with like my retainer clients, I always say I'm a bit like an outsourced marketing manager. Yeah. So a lot of people, depending on the type of business, but a lot of businesses will think, well, we don't have enough money to employ a marketing team or a marketing manager. And actually a really good way for them to do it, because there's all that stuff that comes with employing somebody, isn't there, and pensions and holidays and maternity leave and everything. But by engaging with me, they save time because they're not then trying to do it themselves, but they're trying to run a multi-million-pound business or a small business. They're getting the knowledge, so they're not then, say if there's somebody junior in the business that might be trying to do things, or somebody that hasn't got the skill set to do that, again, I've got the knowledge and come in and say, well, this is going to work, this isn't. So it just saves time and it saves them money as well. So there's lots of ways that I add value to different types of businesses. And if somebody came to me like before, I'd be like, I'm too busy, I've got my retainer clients and that's it. But now I've got the social media and the coaching and the marketing coaching online that I can do, and the one-to-one coaching as well. So there's loads of ways that it adds value and helps people. And that's really nice for me to see as well, that it really helps businesses.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I've passed a few people on, and one who did your Canva mini masterclass, they were like, flipping heck. And they were one of the ones who sat back and said, it looks too complicated for me. And now they're all over Canva. You see on everything, you're like, oh, here they go.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
It's great.
I think a lot of people find marketing and social media like quite daunting and scary. And that's why I did the marketing mastery program, to show people that actually with a little bit of knowledge and skill set, like anyone can do it. Like, I'm not a genius, I'm not thick, but I'm not a genius. And I just like to show people the simplest way. It's like sometimes marketing can be really complex and if you're doing big campaigns and stuff, but general day-to-day marketing doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be hard. And I always try and teach as if I'm trying to explain it to my mum or my dad, that are like,
bless you,
I don't get it. I think if somebody was trying to explain this to me, would I get it and would I understand? And if I think I don't understand what I'm rabbiting on about, they're not going to know either. So I really try and like take that jargon out, because there are a lot of marketing people as well that will talk in like gibberish, like, and even I switch off because I don't know what they're talking about. So I'm like, I just try and keep it engaging and fun and interesting, because to me that's what marketing is. It's fun and it's challenging and it's interesting and exciting, and you can achieve amazing things from it. So I just want to like teach people those like really interesting things in a really easy way that they can implement in their business as well. And then if they really don't want to do that, that's when they come to me as like a retainer client, go, oh, you just do it. I can't do it. So yeah.
It's so true, so true. And to have a goal in mind of what they want to achieve is just a game changer, you know, so that they have a very clear strategy of how to achieve it. And you're right, you've got something for everybody, you know, the do-it-yourself element, the done with you element, and also the do it for you element. So you've actually covered all bases for all your clients, really.
Yeah, it's just because there are lots of people, again, not everybody is my ideal customer, and the retainer client is very much different from the people that come in my Facebook group. So it's about tailoring what I do, because a lot of people need help with marketing. I was like, I can't do marketing for all of you because there's just not enough hours in the day, but if there's little things that I can help you with along the way, then that's great. And it's, you know, I love doing that. I love going online and talking to people and showing people how to do things. And it's really interesting because when people come in my Facebook group, I ask the question like, what are you worried about with marketing now, or what do you want to know about marketing? And 9 times out of 10 people ask about social media. So I know what these people need help with, and I don't need to do it for them. Like, social media is definitely better when you do it for yourself, or it comes from within the business. And that's why I don't do social media management for people anymore. I'm like, no, I won't manage it for you. I will show you how you can manage it for yourself and make it easier for yourself.
You've got to, because the best salespeople are the actual people who are in the business, doing what they do, because they know it inside and out, and it can get lost in translation along the way if they don't.
Definitely.
It is interesting. So if there was somebody sitting on the fence right now, I mean, I would basically tell them to go and get themselves in your Facebook group and stop messing about. However, if somebody was sitting on the fence right now going, do you know, Lisa sounds really nice, she knows what she's talking about, it sounds really exciting, I haven't got a clue whether I should go ahead or not, what would your past, your current, what would your clients say to anybody sat there thinking, do I outsource my marketing, what do I do?
I think a few different things. I would think, so firstly, they would probably say I'm super organised, and quite often I will do a job before they think of it or ask about it. Quite often people will email me and say, oh, should we do this? I'm like, I've already done it, it's already started. I'm like, oh great, okay. So super organised. I think in marketing you have to be like mega organised and efficient, especially like when I work for lots of different clients. Like at the moment I'm working for the Beep Doctors, who is a charity, and I've got a nuclear client, a plant hire client, a school. They've really varied, and they've all got different campaigns going on. So if I wasn't super organised, I just couldn't do my job. So I think they would all agree that I'm super organised. I'm also really, really creative. Like, Alison, I used to want to be an art teacher. If I wasn't doing marketing, I would be an art teacher in a secondary school. That's my passion. Like you can see, like up here, this is like things that I made when I was in A-level art and stuff. So that's what I'd be doing. So I'm super creative, and I always try and put that creativity into the marketing. So I always try and like think outside the box, and quite often when I'm having meetings with clients, I'll just go, oh wait a minute, I'm having one of them moments, and you can see like the cogs whirring in my brain. I'm like, I've just got this idea, I'm just going to put it out there, and I just come up with this, I don't know where they come from, with this crazy idea, and they're like, oh yeah, that could really work. And then we come up with some awesome ideas. So I'm really creative. I'm also very experienced as well, so I know what I'm doing, and I'm a chartered marketer, which means that I have to do continued professional development every year to ensure that I'm researching, I'm learning, constantly reading papers about marketing, researching, listening to podcasts, reading books, all sorts, to ensure that I am at the top of my game and that I know what I'm talking about. You know, getting emails about the latest developments in social media and that kind of thing. So I think they really value that experience, particularly if we were talking about somebody like, you know, the apprentices or junior marketing people. I'm working with a client at the moment that they want me for that kind of thing, to impart my knowledge and experience on their teams, so gradually I can leave the business and their teams will know what to do. So the experience. And I also create really good long-lasting relationships with my clients as well. Like I said before, I'm really down to earth and just talk to them on their level so they understand marketing. And I always say it's like I hold the hand through the process, so guide them through marketing. And like one of my clients came to my wedding, and you know, I have really strong relationships with my clients too. So I think they really appreciate that one-to-one level sort of service that I give them. And I guess most importantly is I get results.
Yeah.
Because it's all very good saying I'm really friendly and I know what I'm doing, I'm super organised, but actually if it didn't work then it'd be pretty pointless, wouldn't it? So I would say, you know, clients will see that all the things that I do, we get results, and I evaluate things for people as well. So I've just finished with a hospitality client actually, and you know, I said this is what we're going to do at the beginning, and then I've written evaluation. I'm like, this is everything we were going to do and this is what it's achieved. So they know exactly, well, that's what we asked her and it's done this. So they can see those results, which is really important when it comes to marketing, because you want to be able to see that it's doing some good. And it's quite difficult sometimes with marketing as well, because it's not like sales where you can show you've got X amount of sales. Marketing is quite soft. It's a bit fluffy sometimes, and it's more about raising awareness and shouting about what you do and being out there, and that continued visibility. So sometimes it's quite difficult to show people how it's working, but when I can write an evaluation and show that it's worked, then you know, they know that it's worthwhile having that relationship with me. And that's why I work with clients for sometimes 4 or 5 years longer. So yeah, I would say that's what people would say.
Yeah, no, that's good. And it is important to showcase results, because the interesting part is, you know, a lot of people, if they start with a company and then they forget to have the goals, what they want to achieve, and then they don't actually monitor it along the way. I find that really fascinating that, you know, people don't do that on a regular basis. But I think it's because we're both quite results focused people. But it is interesting. It is interesting, but it's also beneficial, and you never know with the soft touches along the way, you know, whether that the big client might come after 4 years, but they've been watching, you know, and it's about having that awareness and understanding that potentially can happen as well.
Yeah, and I'm actually talking to a potential new client at the moment who worked with one client and then has moved, and he's like, we saw the amazing results you did for this company, we want a piece of that over here as well. And like 2 massive names in Cumbria as well, which is amazing for me. So it's getting in front of the right people. But yeah, it's showing those results, showing what I do for people, and then other people telling the word of mouth. Oh, well, I worked with Lisa and she did this and it was amazing. And then getting other inquiries off the back of that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And do you just work in Cumbria, or do you work across the UK as well?
So yeah, it's mainly Cumbria, but I before I moved, I was made redundant and moved home to Cumbria. I had a few clients. I did some work for Marketing Cheshire. I worked in Liverpool. So yeah, I have different clients sort of all over. There was one even down in Bristol that we were talking to a while ago, that had seen me through my Facebook group. So yeah, I work with people all over, and like the one-to-one coaching online stuff, a lot of what I can do can be done remotely. And I got a new client during the pandemic that were in the West Lakes, and I didn't meet them for about a year. We were just talking on Zoom because it was just difficult to get there and see each other. So in that respect, I could work with anybody, anywhere.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the pandemic, to be fair. It's
Yeah,
opened up so many amazing opportunities.
it has, yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. So how do people, what's the best way to get in touch with you, Lisa? How do they get in touch with you? Obviously, we'll put all your details at the end of this film footage of your interview. But what is the best way to contact you?
I would say if somebody wanted to find me, to go and look at my website, because it's got my email address on there, it's got all my social media links, there's my links to my courses, there's freebie downloads on there that they can get as well. So probably my website is a good place to start. So if they Googled it and put Acorn Marketing or Lisa Jackson, it would come up at the top. So yeah, a good starting place is my website, acorn-marketing.co.uk.
Brilliant. Lisa, wow, so much content, so much material for people to crack on and go and get some work done. But definitely, if at least that you join Lisa's Facebook group, Marketing Made Easy by Lisa, hope I've got that right, is absolutely brilliant. Loads of top tips in there as well, and golden nuggets, which is so important. And then you started on the journey with Lisa, definitely. So I'm going to wish you all an amazing Sunday. Thank you so much, Lisa, for all of your amazing content, amazing interview, and thank you very much. I hope you have an amazing Sunday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alison. You're welcome.